Hello everybody, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator once again, and good morning from Oklahoma City as we are making ourselves around here at Will Rogers Airport that is by INI Builds. So we're going to come down here and get to our E175. We're going to be flying the FSS E175 today in United Colors, United Express that is, right here at gate number 3. So let's make our way down here to the airplane and we'll get started. And welcome aboard the Embraer 175, the E-Jet here. And just to let you know, this is an early access product, so nothing is finalized with this airplane. I got it for, I believe, 35 bucks. So it's at a discounted price since it is early access. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently here. We have a turnaround state. Usually I have it pretty much ready to push back, but a lot of you may not be familiar with this airplane, so we're going to go through the whole pre-flight together is what we're going to do. So let's look at our overhead panel here. Everything's kind of like an Airbus. You want all the lights out. So we're GPU in use right now. APU gen is off. This thing eats gas like crazy when you're running that APU gen, so or when you're running the APU, so we're not going to be worried about that right now. Coming on down the line here, cockpit lights are fine here. Sterile cockpit light can go on, and no smoking, and the fasten seatbelt sign as well. Moving down from there, we have the APU control. Not going to turn it on just yet, but we will do it later on. Nav lights come on, and then we move on down that line. Looks good there. The only thing you really have to do before pushing out is to turn the electric pump A on the system 3 to the on position, but we don't have to do it right now. I just shown you the only thing you really have to do to fly this airplane on the overhead panel. Everything else is all blacked out. It's all automatic, so we're not worried about that. We just need to do a few housekeeping things here. It does have an EFB. It's very limited currently. I can get my flight plan going through SimBrief. That's what I will be using today. And then you can add a flight right here by just importing your SimBrief flight plan. This so far has been kind of useless for me. I don't use it at all, so I'm not really worried about it. You do have the ability to open up whatever doors you want right here. You can go to the options page. You can change your SimBrief username in there. Again, it doesn't really do a whole lot. Aircraft. You can fly the aircraft from the right seat. You can have passenger announcements. I'm going to turn those off. I'm going to be using Pack X today for that. Disable the glare shield LEDs. Enable MCDU keyboard entry if you want to. So you can just type it in with the keyboard. Spawn and turnaround mode. That's what I have it at right now. No metric units. We're going to be using the Imperial system. Cabin lights. I'm just going to keep that on off. If I keep it on auto, it just turns it on all the time. Then if you have too high a brake temperature, you can reset it right there. Operator options here. You can disable the auto brakes. Some of the operators don't have it. And then calibration here is to get your throttle quadrant working with it. As you can see, mine works just perfectly fine with it, just like that. And that's pretty much the whole meat and potatoes when it comes to that whole thing. Moving down here, this is where it gets interesting. You have the radio panel. In the real E175, the airplane will auto-tune the ILS and all that stuff, but we're going to have to do things differently here today. We're going to have to put it in the Nav 1 and Nav 2. We'll talk about that when we get there. But for now, we're just ready for doing a exterior pre-flight. So we're just going to do a walk around on the airplane, show you some of the modeling on this thing. You might be familiar with this airplane because this is the same model as the X-Plane X-Crafts E-Jet series. You know, we might as well just go ahead and start the APU now. So let's just go to the APU and we'll put it into the first position here. And we're going to watch down here for the yellow to go away as it opens up that APU door. And now that is open, we can go up here and we'll turn it to the on position. And now that APU will be firing up. And the APU valve is already open there. We don't have to mess with that at all. And we're just going to go ahead and arm those passenger signs now. And you can see right there, the APU gen is on. So the GPU is available, but it's not being used right now. So that's what that's going on with that. Let's do our pre-flight. All right, let's come out here onto the flight line and we will do our walk around of the E-Jet. The modeling on this thing is absolutely beautiful, I must say. Very, very cool looking airplane. I've always had a love for the E-Jet here. Moving around to the front here, we're just making sure that everything is in working order. You can see the level of detail when it comes to the modeling and underneath the various parts of the engine, on the brake pads, on the tires, all that. You see right here. I love what we see here and up in the landing gear bay. Love the texturing on this airplane. It's very, very high quality. But the systems is where it falls short because it is a early access airplane. We have problems not having any VNAV in this airplane currently, so if that's a make it or break it thing for you, it's not for me, then that will probably not be for you. We fired that APU up. We can definitely tell that it is running. It's looking good there. Awesome stuff. Flying November 611 Uniform X-Ray today. And over here, walking around, nav lights looks good there. You see there the winglets on this thing are pretty interesting, aren't they? Yeah, but look at the texturing there. It's just absolutely fantastic. I love it. All right, cool. So exterior pre-flight is complete. Let's go back upstairs. All right, we have opened the doors up and we have begun boarding on our flight. And it is going to be SkyWest 5237 with service down to San Antonio, Texas today. About 1 hour and 12 minutes in flight. Overhead panel, looking at this one more time, looks good to me as of right now. And we are pretty much ready to start the whole process of getting our MCDU set. I did get my flight plan filed so I can show you the flight details, just what this would look like if I went to add and then import the SimBrief flight plan. It takes it a little while to load. While it's doing that, let's come back downstairs to here. And this is the radio panel. This is how you change between standby and TARA. We're just going to set it to TARA so we don't have to do it later. One big thing is you have to make sure that your refresh rate for your screens is set to the highest setting in your graphics settings. Otherwise, you're going to get big lag spikes and all sorts of problems with the avionics. So keep that in mind. Go to the route page here and hit RTE for here, route page, and then we've got Oklahoma City. We're going down to San Antonio, so KSAT. Throw that right there in the destination. Let that populate just like that. We go to the departure. Flight ID is not 127, so it doesn't get any data links, so that's that's just my number there. So departure there, and then we go to runway. Out of here, we're going to be taking off on runway 35 left. I will brief you. We're doing a whole flight today. And then we've got looks like the Mud 3 departure, and that's going to be direct to Windu after that, so no transition. We go to review here. We like what we see there. We hit apply. So we'll go to the runway. We want runway 4 in San Antonio. ILS 4 is fine there. Transition, Trago, then the star. I don't think there's any stars here, so we're just going to apply that. There we go. That's pretty much it. So we'll press the perf page here, and we'll be on perf init. That's what we want. Takeoff landing fuel. This is where you put what you're going to burn in the APU. So we're going to put 400 in that guy right there. And then we can move on to the next page where we need to put in our actual cruise, which is going to be 27,000 feet, 270. We can throw that right into there. Cruise winds today, 222 at 70. So that is going to be ripping a little bit. 70 knots, probably be fighting a little bit of a headwind there. Zero fuel weight, we're going to get that next. You have to use the default weight and balance here in the sim, and I will show you how we do that. So looking at what we got, block fuel is going to be 11,498. Make sure we're in pounds here. 11,498. Get it as close as we can here. 11. Oh, they're already ready to go. Look at that. So 11.6, that works for me. Payload 17,000, so right around 17,000 we can get. Bring that up to about right here. There we go, 1705. Zero's perfect. You see the CG's out of limit, so we need to adjust that CG so they load this airplane correctly and bring it into its limits right there. Now that that's complete, we come back down here and we can enter our zero fuel weight, which is going to be 67404. So 67404. I'm getting my numbers from simbrief.com. That's what I use. There we go. Next page. Looks good there. Back to the perf page. We need to go to the takeoff page now. And this is where we're going to put the information in for our runway. So Oklahoma City weather currently right now, winds are 060 at 14. So we'll put 060 at 1-4. Am right there. Perfect. So there's our winds right there. Dry conditions for the runway. Next page will be flaps to takeoff. There's our CG there. All that's good. We go to the takeoff page here. And lately, I have not been able to get my takeoff pitch set here. It's supposed to be 10, but they are not allowing me to do it, unfortunately. I don't know. It used to work fine, but lately it's just not doing it. So go to our flight plan page on this side, and you can see there the good old user, because it uses that default FMC in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's why we're going to get that user waypoint there, unfortunately. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Everything's good there. We just come down here to this guy and press this in. When we press this in, we're going to get our actual flight directors to turn on. Let's get our MCP all set up here. So it's called something different here. I think it's FGC or something. I forget what it is on this airplane. I fly so many different ones. Altitude today, we're just going to set it all the way up there, man. All the way up to 27. One thing I like about this airplane is you can click and drag, which makes it go a lot quicker. And you can fine tune it a little bit better there instead of just doing the old clicker. There we go. 27,000 in there. Speed's going to be 180 for takeoff. So they do 180, 210, 250, then 280. So we'll be doing 180 on that. That's perfect. Navigation sources FMS1. That's why we have the LNAV. We're just checking that. So roll to LNAV. That's what we want to see right there. I'm happy with everything I see in the panel as of now. Flight director, all right there. Making sure that that's good. But I don't know why the takeoff pitch is not working. Very strange. Systems here page. We can go through the flight control, hydraulics. Yeah, fuel, electrical, ECS. I'm just showing you everything that's in here. Anti-ice, engine, maintenance. And then the system config is all in here. A lot of stuff in these pages. Go to the map mode, or you can go to plan mode here as well. And we could go through our flight plan. But let's go ahead and get things underway because they are waiting on us currently. I'm going to go ahead and shut the door. There we go. And we'll come down here and make sure that it is locked. And it is locked. Sweet. We'll just go ahead and ding them. Let them know we're going to be ready to push back. So let's go and get that red beacon light on, and we'll go. We're just doing our flows right now, so that comes on. We're on APU, Gen. Everything coming down the line looks good to me. And then we get that 3A system pump on for the hydraulics, and that means we're pretty much ready to push out from here. So let's go ahead and call them up. We'll use GSX here, and we will get the jetway to go away. And we'll hear those doors close. And there goes the jetway. Wonderful. And let's call them up for pushback.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard flight 52.
And prepare for pushback and departure.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
All right, before start checklist, trim panel is, we're going to be nose to the right, tail to the left.
Release parking brakes, please.
Release that parking brake. There we go.
Commencing push.
All right.
All engines
Trim
clear.
panel is set. We're going to be right at about 4 units. That's actually perfect there. MCDU's checked and set. Fuel quantity, we've checked that already. And we can just double check it right there. You got 11430 on board. Taxi takeoff briefing complete. I'm not going to bore you with that one. Passenger signs are on. Doors and windows are closed. Flight deck doors locked. Red beacon on. Hydraulic pump 3A is on. Overhead panels normal. Dispatch clearance was checked. The transponder set to TARA, so we don't have to do it later on. Let's go and start engine number 2. To start the engines, you just go over here to run. Give it a couple seconds and then over to start. That is all you have to do. And now we've got engine 2 turning. We got N2 rotation right there.
To fasten your seatbelt low and tight across your lap, insert the metal fitting into the buckle. Tighten the belt by pulling on the loose end of the strap.
Each is equipped with an evacuation slide that automatically inflates. Each exit is marked with a sign overhead. The main doors open by moving the large handle in the direction of the arrow.
All right, pushback is complete. We go ahead and pull the parking brake there.
Confirmation for a good engine start.
And we'll let them know we have a good engine start. We're going to be doing a single engine taxi today. So confirm good engine start.
We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Wonderful. And we're going to go to the flight control page here. And we'll do a flaps 2. So let's set those. Flaps 2. And we're gonna do a flight control check. Big thanks to Thrustmaster for sponsoring this video with the Boeing TCA yoke and the whole throttle quadrant, as well as the Thrustmaster TPRs that I'm using down here for the rudder pedals. Flight controls are free and correct. They're unlocking the gear. RTO for you. Flaps 2 set there. We're on that guy. We're gonna leave the APU on because we're doing a single engine taxi. Everything upstairs is looking good right now. And we'll turn on our taxi lights when we're ready to taxi on out. All right, let's go back to the map mode here, and we'll turn all this stuff on in a minute. We've got the pin right there. Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. We need to taxi over to runway 35 left for departure. And have a good trip. Perfect. That's all we needed. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to taxi out onto Charlie 6 down to Charlie, or sorry, by Charlie 6 over to Alpha. Take Alpha all the way down across runway 31. And then we will start our engine down here at about Alpha 8. And we'll take off on runway 35 left. Looking at the Mud 3 departure, we're going to be taking off on 35 left, so we'll be 311 heading out of here. Basically going to loop all the way back around, and we're going to go direct RNAV to Glops. All right, they're ready to go back there. We are too. Let's go ahead and come up here and turn our 2 taxi lights on, and we will release the parking brake, and we will taxi down to 35 left. Let's do it. All right, making our turn on to Charlie now. We'll make a left on Alpha and take that down like we explained we would do. The other thing I did was my before taxi checklist, which you'll probably see a cinematic shot, but I did go through it. The auto throttle is turned on. That's what we needed to do on that, and a load of other things to make sure that we didn't forget anything. But we're on the taxi. And taxi checklist is pretty easy, just ice protection as required. We're not using any ice protection today. Parking brake was released, and we can only go a max of 20 knots on our taxi here. Just using the right engine to taxi. Airplane has a great feeling on the ground, and another thing is it hand flies beautifully. So we're going to cross this runway, and to do so, we need to turn our landing lights on and the strobe light on as well. And we're clear to cross the runway. Anytime you enter a active runway, you got to have your landing lights and strobe lights on. So the next thing will be the before takeoff checklist. And that will be after we start engine number 1. But starting the engine is very simple. It's just like we do with 2, but there's a technique to it. You just kind of get a good roll going, and then we'll pull our power all the way back because you can't have power in whenever you're firing it up. So we're going to pull our power back, and then we're going to fire it up while we're still rolling is what we're going to do. So we've cleared the runway there, so let's go ahead and turn these guys back off and the strobe light as well. There we go, just like that. As we're taxiing down to the runway, one of the biggest complaints is the sound set, that the engines are too quiet, and I agree. I was running the FT Sim sound pack, but the new update for this airplane seemed to have broken that, as it's no longer using the FT Sim sound pack, which I absolutely adored, and I could not figure out how to get it to work again, unfortunately. So these are the default sounds you're hearing. The moment I get my FT Sim sounds back, I'll have to do another flight in this thing so you can hear it, because it's pretty darn good once you got that going. So we're almost down here to the end of the runway, and all we got to do is just pull our power back to idle just like this, and let's go ahead and start engine number 1. as we taxi at idle power. That's why I was saying there's a little bit of a technique to it. You just get a rolling run at the end of the runway here like this, and then you just let it fire up. You can see it's just about fired up completely as it is rolling off at 24.7.9 right there, looking really good. So let's go ahead and hit just slightly ease into the brakes here as we're almost down here to the end of the runway, and we'll get set up for everything here. So one of the biggest things is we need to shut that APU off. That thing will just eat our fuel, and we do not need that at all. So we'll go ahead and make sure that is shut off, which it is. And then landing lights are going to come on, and our taxi lights are off, and our strobe light comes on. If it will let me. There you go. Thank you very much for that. And we're going to just line up and wait on 3-5 left. And as we do that, we're going to do our checklist. Before takeoff checklist, park and brake. Not going to worry about that, as we're just going to kind of roll onto the runway here. Throttle will be idle as it is right now. Brake temps have been checked. You can check your brake temps. And I was doing that as I was going down there, and it's perfectly fine. Takeoff data is checked. ICAS is checked. We have the APU shutting down right now, which is perfectly fine. Takeoff config, we have not done that yet, so we're gonna do it now. 3-5 left and verify that is 3-5 left. Takeoff config button right there. And we have no warnings there, so that's good. ATIS airport information is checked. Takeoff clearance is good. Transponders TARA. Taxi lights are off, landing lights are on, strobe lights are on. We're ready for takeoff. Let's do this thing. Forward pressure, and we're gonna bring these things up to 40%. Let them hang right there, and then toga, which is just pushing the power all the way forward. Just like that. Airspeed is alive. There's 80 knots there, and we'll right aileron into that wind. Comes V1 and rotate. Nice and easy. There we go. Positive rate. Gear up. Hello, wind. Get it back down on that 10. It's supposed to be 10 degrees pitch to 180 knots here. And there's the flight director coming in there. The bird. Double check that guy. Yep, there it goes. And we follow the flight director out. It'll be a turn to the right. Yeah, it's pretty windy and bumpy out right now. Was not expecting that. And you don't want to get up on the actual flight director. That's another bug in the airplane as it stands. It'll try to climb you out at like 5,000-6,000 feet per minute, and you'll just stall out of the sky. So you got to just maintain that 10-degree pitch right now. And we're good on the speed. Let's start our turn to the right. And we'll go flaps 1. We're going to increase our speed to 210 knots. Right there, 210, looking good. We need to start our clock. Heaven forbid it. There's Oklahoma City down there, nice. Bring that nose up a little bit more here. Just keep a nice turnout. Now you can see the flight director starting to do its thing, because we're on flight change, which we're supposed to be at. And it's going to grab that LNAV all the way back around. But we just basically need to kind of circle around the airport before we head out to Glops. And that's pretty much it. Now we can go flaps up. Let the airplane accelerate before we start chasing the bird. There we go. 210 knots, no problem there. And now we're at 7,100. Let's go ahead and increase that speed to 250. About right there. So 250 knots to 10,000 feet. There we go. See the airplane starting to gain speed now. You can see we're climbing at 2,900 feet per minute. If I was to fly that bird, man, it would be just way too much. So the airplane does not have VNAV, hence all these being missing on the MCDU down there. That's what's going on with that, if you're wondering. So there we go. We'll have a nice view of the airport on the right wing here as we're still climbing out. Almost at 10,000 feet. We'll hit 10,000 feet right here. So 10,000 feet. Those landing lights to the off position and our wing inspection lights off. Wasn't on to begin with. Yep, 10,000 feet, looking good.
After the Wi-Fi, you'll be directed to a page to pay a small fee for internet access. We do offer complimentary in-flight TV thanks to our partners. Connect to the Wi-Fi and you'll be able to access our wide range of free live TV and paid movies library.
And we're about to intercept. And as we're on our way on up here, still hand flying the airplane, wanted to talk about what I was talking about in the last video. Not the one with Ryan, but the one before that. I didn't go over it again, but we were talking about the landing lights, and I did a really bad job of explaining what I was talking about. So different airlines do it differently. Delta does it at they do the landing lights off at 18,000 feet. And since I'm training for the 737, I'm going to be flying at World Flight. That's the reason why I do 18,000. So if I'm flying a regional jet or I'm flying Southwest or JetBlue or whatever, I'm going to turn the lights off at 10,000 feet. Each airline does it differently. But that's what I was talking about. I didn't mean that every airline out there does it at 18,000. I was just like, what I meant to get across was, hey, did you know that some airlines do it differently? But I didn't word it right, so I do apologize for that. That is on me 100%. And we should be intercepting Glops here. We're just about 15 miles from it. And let's get this thing to 280. So, like I said, it's 250, then 280. I'm just trying to get a little more climb out of this thing to get above the bumps for everybody, as we are using PAC-X today. I want to make sure our passengers are nice and comfortable on our flight. And I'm going to fly the bird a little bit more here now that it's starting to be more realistic. Once you see it at a realistic level, then you can start flying it again, the flight director. So push it forward a little bit here. There we go. And with the new version that came out, the new experiment, I'm using the experimental branch of this airplane, but the new version of it that they recently released, they have fixed the issue with the ILS not capturing correctly, but there's a kind of a trick to it. You have to kind of set the airplane up for a VOR intercept using the localizer, and then once you have done that, you will go to nav mode to track it, and then you use approach mode for the glide slope, the glide path. That's the only difference you do there. All right, looking good. Wonderful. So not only thanks to Thrustmaster today, but also to Next Level Racing. I use the Next Level Racing Boeing commercial cockpit that you see here. Everything is attached to. It's been an absolute dream come true to have this set up finally, after so many years of simming. I absolutely love it. All right, cool. Climbing towards our final cruise altitude of 27,000 feet. Passengers are 94% satisfied on our departure. I'm just slowly rolling in onto this thing here because we got that crosswind, 66 knots crosswind. And we're holding about almost 280 knots. We can bring the nose down a little bit here, actually, and get back onto the bird as it wants more airspeed. We can do that. There we go, about right there. And if you engage the autopilot, make sure you're pretty bang on with the flight directors, because it can be jarring for your passengers if you're not ready for it. A little forward down here. There we go. So we need to be flying at about this angle here, because that now is a 73 knot crosswind. But it is still considered a headwind, so it's going to slow us down on our flight today, unfortunately. There's our turn. Now it'll be happy. There we go. That's pretty good right there. So we can go ahead and engage the autopilot. And there's the autopilot. You see how it's kind of finicky. You want to kind of make sure you're as close to that as you possibly can so that you don't upset anybody. And we're on our way out of Oklahoma City. We've reached our cruising altitude, and they are starting that snack and drink service. Fasten seatbelt sign can come off. They can move about the cabin. Lieutenant, call that button right there. Perfect. Everything is looking good so far, nice and clear. We are currently almost to Moose intersection. We can zoom out by this right here. And one thing that's really cool about this airplane is it does have a working weather radar in it. It uses the NTCAS. It uses the weather radar that's built in the sim. It's not a custom one, but to me, it's better than having nothing at all. One of my biggest problems I have when I'm flying like the PMDG 737 is I can't see storms, and it's kind of important, you know? Also wanted to say, let me know in the comments below if you guys plan on attending Flight Sim Expo in Houston. I will be there this year. I'm looking forward to it big time. It should be a great group of people going. Normally this airplane will have no problem getting a sit and a star in here, but for some reason it would not let me pick up our star. Once it's on the Braun 3 arrival, but we can't really fly the Braun 3 arrival because we don't have any of the intersections in there. Another limitation of the default FMC, but there is an MCDU coming down the line for this airplane, a custom one that they have been talking about, so I can't wait to see it. And folks from the flight deck, it's your captain speaking. We've leveled off here at 27,000 feet. Right now, about 48 minutes out from San Antonio. Winds are a little gusty there in San Antonio. They'll be out of the east. Looks like temperature there, 51 degrees. We know you have a choice when it comes to airlines. We appreciate you choosing United this morning. We'll see you on a future flight. All right, since we don't have VNAV in this airplane, we have to do a little bit of math, but luckily we have some great top of descent calculators out there on the internet. So our starting altitude, 27,000 feet. Ending altitude will be at 4,000 at Trago. Starting speed around 280 knots here, 210 when we get to Trago. And then the winds I put as a average around 50 knots. Glide slope's going to be about 3.8, and that's going to be a vertical speed of 2,000 feet per minute. So top of descent will be right at 69 nautical miles. All right, let's go to the perf index page. We're going to go to the landing page here, and this is where we need to enter our information for that. Runway heading for our runway into 4, it's going to be 037, so we'll put 037 in there. So looking at the weather in San Antonio, looks like the winds are 010 at 16, gusting to 23 knots, 6 miles of visibility and mist. And then we've got overcast skies, 2,600 feet, altimeter 3015. So 010 at 16, gusting to 23. So I'm going to put 01023 is what I'm going to put for the wind. So 010 at 23. That's the max that we see there, and that it's been gusting. And then the temperature there is 10 degrees, well, 11 degrees Celsius. So we'll put that in there and automatically calculates the Fahrenheit as well. No ice. And then we go to the landing page. VREF 125. VAP is going to be 135 today. VAC 140, 192. Landing flap will not be full, so we need to go to the next page. Before that, actually, the landing init page here. And here we're going to put on flaps 5. We're not going to be landing with full flap. No need for that. Now we can go to the landing page, and now it's going to be 133, 143, 140, 192, flap 5. I'm much more happy with that. That looks good. And we won't start our descent till about 70 miles out. All right, let's go ahead and brief the arrival. Since we're not gonna be doing a star because it refused to load it for whatever reason, we won't be using the star. So we're just gonna go straight into the runway 4, the ILS runway 4. So you look at the approach here on ILS localizer runway 4. That's what we want right there. And we can see some information that we need right here. So 1097 is what it's going to be. And to do that, we just come down here to the radio page, and we're going to put 109.7 in nav 1 and 109.7 in nav 2. That is selected on both sides. 037 for the course. So to do that, we need to go to the previous button here, or the preview button. Once the preview is open, we can see we have a little VOR guy right there. So we just need to select the course to what we want it to be, which in this case is going to be 037. So just drag the course to 037. Love that we can drag it like this. There, almost there. 37. There we go. That's set. And then you can turn the preview page off completely by clicking it a couple times. Looking at this, looks like we're going to be, if we go miss on the runway, we are going to climb to 1,700 feet, then climbing left turn to 3,500 on the heading 025 and outbound on the San Antonio VOR radial 040 to Shep intersection, DME 18.4 to San Antonio and hold if we wanted to do that. But in this case, since we're not on VATSIM, we're just going to go ahead and we would go miss. We're going to make that left turn over San Antonio, turn back around, and we'll re-vector ourselves again. Of course, we'll be at 3,500 feet to do that. Looking at everything else here, we can look down at the very bottom where it really matters, ILS 986. You don't always have to jump all the way down here. You can always just look right here. It usually has it right there, what you can expect. So decision height's going to be 986. So we just go over here to the minimums and make sure that Barrow is selected like that. And we will dial in 986 on this guy. And you can see it right there changing. So we want 986. And what the minimums are is the minimum altitude we can be. We have to have visual, or we have to have a visual of the runway approach lighting system in order to continue the approach to land at 986 feet. So 990 will be perfect for that. Can't get any closer. So we have some weather build up here on the left. So that's what I love about having a weather radar. I wish we just had this plain Jane one in the PMDG. I don't know why they won't give it to us, but I digress. All right, so we're going to be landing on runway 4, and we are going to exit on left at Tango or Delta. Then we'll make a left-hand turn, and we'll take November all the way down, cross runway 31 left, right turn on to Golf. We'll take Golf down, and we will turn into the ramp right here at Delta. Just a left turn right there, and then into ramp Bravo 1. That's the gate we're going to be going to at Terminal B today. So that's what we got going on there. You've been briefed on the approach. Currently 162 nautical miles out from Trago, which is going to be towards the beginning of the ILS-4 approach. And you can see here's the weather buildup we can expect on the way in. Looks like all the heavy precipitation is going to stay to the east of the field for the most part, but we'll see what it looks like once we get a little bit closer. So our runway is going to be 8,505 feet. So we're going to be auto brakes of medium today. We're expecting possible wet conditions as well. So that's the reason why we're not going with low. I'm happy with that decision, and that's all we have until we start our descent. So I'm going to show you a little bit more of what Pack X does. So in this menu here, you can go over here, or SkyWest 5237. We're 23 minutes out right now. Passengers are currently 95% satisfied, but you can find out why they are only 95%. So we click on this, it opens up this. We have the whole manifest right here, and when you click on these people, you can see information about them and what they're feeling. So you can click on the people in the first class here. So Cynthia Marshall, there you go, 11-year-old kid. Okay, cool, flying in first class. So how about Noel? We got 45 years old, leisure content, not hungry, not thirsty, tired. Seatbelts on right now. He's seated. You see somebody who got up and went to the bathroom. Then we have some other people here. So there's some stuff here, and you can look at the different cabin levels if you have multiple cabins on the airplane, and it's pretty cool. Shows you what everybody's up to in flight and why you get the satisfied. And sometimes you see these people that are orange, they're more grumpy, somewhat hungry, somewhat thirsty. So they're not happy. They don't have a meal service, but that's not on us. That's on them. They didn't eat before they went flying today. We can see that weather building up really nice here. You can see some cells out in the distance there. We have some rain bands running right here on the left-hand side. And the weather radar is showing that. Looks like all the heavy rain's going to be off to the east for the most part, but it's going to be an interesting arrival for sure. We're definitely going to be dealing with some wind and rain. As far as anti-ice in the airplane goes, it'll automatically kick on. You can see it up here. It's already turned on. And what happens is if it detects icing, we'll see it here on the ICAS, and then it will automatically turn those systems on and take care of the ice. You don't have to babysit it at all, which is really cool. I do love that the airplane is somewhat automated. Let's go back to our landing page here. So we have our information. We might have more than 140. I'm probably going to shoot this at about 145 to 150 knots. Depends on what the gusts are like coming in to San Antonio. Well, I looked at the weather again. It looks like it's not getting any better. Overcast still at 2,600 feet, so that should be fine getting there since our minimums are at 990, 989 or whatever they were at. But regardless, that is not going to be a problem. Looks like it's going to be light precipitation on the approach. We could expect really heavy precipitation coming in, so we'll probably be on the autopilot for this particular ILS approach. Currently right now, 80 miles out. Remember, we're going to start around 70. I'm going to give ourselves a 10 nautical mile buffer, so let's go ahead and start our descent. Do not want to go into flight change mode. That's a good roller coaster ride. Let's put it into vertical speed mode, and down we go and crack it open nice and easy. Start at about 800 feet per minute. Let the airplane catch up. Then we add a little bit more, about 1,000 feet per minute. And then a little bit more, about 1,500 feet per minute. And once we get to 2,000, we're going to keep an eye on that speed, and if we have to, we'll pull the speed brakes out. There we go, almost to 2,000 feet per minute right there. There we go. That's what we had calculated with the calculator. So now we've begun our initial descent into San Antonio. And folks, from the flight deck, once again, giving an update here. We're about 13 minutes out from our arrival into San Antonio. Winds are gusty out of the east right now, and looks like we got some showers moving through, so some rain there at the airfield. Looks like it's temperature 51 degrees, and we'll have you on the ground here shortly. Flight attendants, prepare cabin for arrival. All right, so we're continuing our descent down towards 10,000 feet, 21.5 right now for 10,000. I'd like to have 10,000 so we can slow down the airplane, make sure we don't bust airspeed at 250. 61 miles to Trago, so we are getting closer, and we can have a look here at the weather. We might deviate a little bit to the right. You see this buildup right here in front of us? That's going to be this red right here, and you do not want to fly into the red, so we're probably going to get some radar vectors around that, and basically all we're going to do is just go to heading mode, and we'll vector ourselves around. So having a look here at the weather, our best bet's going to be to kind of vector around the red here and then come in around that way. We're going to have some pockets of red around here, but it looks like for the most part we'll be able to avoid it. We might actually get lucky and be able to shoot right between the two sets of cells right there. So that's what we plan on doing. And that is the buildup right there in front of us. So we can actually see which way we need to go, which is this way. So let's go ahead and get our heading select over here to the far left. We go this way. About, we're going to start off with 220 for now, heading select mode. There we go. And we're going to get around this red band, because where we get the red precipitation, we're probably going to pick up the most turbulence and icing and all that. And we want to avoid that if we can. So we're going to do exactly that. Into the soup we go. We're just keeping an eye on the weather right now, and it's looking pretty decent from here. We're probably going to expect that rain band right there, but that's all right. We'll make our left turn here in just a few moments so we see what's going on over there. It's a little bit to the left here.
We have begun our final descent to San Antonio. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to select
all right, they're doing their final call there. And we're going to slow down to 250 on the speed here at 10,000 feet.
Please complete all Wi-Fi related tasks and stow any larger electronics.
There we go, 250 set right there. And we'll pull the speed brake out so we just get slowed up a little quicker. That's looking good there, and we can see the we could probably make that little hole there. I mean, we don't have a lot of options here, but that's probably our best bet right there. And that's what we're going to shoot for here. So slowing up to 250 knots. Actually, we're going to slow down to 240. We're going to be encountering some turbulence here. As you can see, we are in it kind of right now. And let's push this back forward. Oh yeah, we are dicing between the clouds right now. I'm going to go to 12.5 on my scale. That looks good there. And we're going to be below 10, so let's keep on continuing down. So let's go altitude select. We're good right there. Vertical speed on down we go. And we'll get to that about 2,000 feet per minute. And we'll get the altitude set here at 4,000 we need to be at. Yeah, we're getting bounced around just a little bit, getting rocked. I figured that was going to be the case. Zoom in a little bit here so we see what we're doing. On this side, it kind of helps too because we don't have the actual weather radar on there. We can see our approach. But there we go. That's a little bit better right there. We're holding speed pretty good right now, but yeah, we're getting rocked pretty good with the turbulence. Start another left turn this way. Towards the south. Because I don't see any red in front of us right now. We're just going to be in the yellow stuff. We are below 10,000 feet, so landing lights are on right now. Inspection light can go on for that, and then logo light as well. Why not? Seatbelt sign definitely on. Let people know that they need to get back to their seats because it is going to be an interesting arrival, I must say. Although we're starting to see a little bit of a break in the weather right now. Just hit a little bit of a rain band right there, but right now a lot of this orange right here seems to be just cloud cover. So that's actually a good sign, believe it or not. So continuing descent right now, almost down to 4,000 feet here. We're going to be soon enough. We're going to keep that turn to the left now. There we go. And we can do this on the map side. We can put the terrain on this side. Oh, right there. Nope. Right there. There we go. That way we have a good idea of what's around us here. Painting the big picture. We just don't want things to look red in front of us, you know what I mean? We're going to level off at 4,500 actually. That'll be plenty. We're kind of hang out here right now, keeping best speed as we continue to divert around this this weather here. But you can see the approach. So we're just going out towards Trago right now, but we're going to get a little bit closer. We're 15 miles from Trago, but we might not have to go all the way out to Trago. We'll probably be able to cut it off a little bit more and avoid being in that red cell for that long. So that's exactly what we plan on doing here. And since we are on heading mode, we can go ahead and we can click VL for VOR Loc, and Localizer 2 right there. ISAT 25 miles from the runway right now, but we do have it set up. And course seems to be off on that guy, doesn't it? Just a little bit. Let's try Loc 1. There we go. 037. That's more like it. I don't know why. Sometimes whenever you click VO Loc, it goes to the second one first. You got to cycle it back to Loc 1. Another thing you have to do is go to the preview for that one as well, and you'll get the actual other data you need. So it's kind of a bug right now with the plane. It's not realistic, but it's something you got to do. And we are still in the soup, man. We're getting rocked by this turbulence. It's just not going away, from what I can tell. But we're currently getting closer to Trago here before we make that turn. So we're at 4,300 feet, so let's go ahead and do our descent checklist. ATIS airport information has been checked. Landing data is set. Fuel quantities in balance. We've got plenty of gas on board, 6710. Avionics and radios tuned is set. Passenger signs are on. Auto brake is medium. Descent is established. Altimeters are still in standard. That's why we do a checklist right there. I clicked it, but it didn't do it. Oh, you know why? Because this airplane, you have to move it, right? That's what you have to do. Yeah, you have to move it. That's what it is. You can't just click that in and go, okay, you're good. But there we go. 3015 and 3015, that's cross-checked. Looking good right here. 25, let's go into 12 and a half. And we can see where we want to go. And a little left turn here to 150. Right on the money. Sweet. All right. Airspeed's below 250 at 10,000. Landing lights are on. Descent checklist complete. Next up will be the approach checklist. But right now we just need to aviate. And we're looking better here. I'm going to keep this going here. We're going to get a nice little intercept here. That's the idea. But I'd love to get out of this stuff. Passengers are now 85% because they are not enjoying this turbulence, which I totally understand. There's not a lot we can do right now. We're kind of doing everything we possibly can. Okay, we're getting closer. We're gonna start slowing down to 210 knots. Once we get under 220, we'll be able to add those flaps. But I like to have a 10 knot buffer for that. So once we hit the 210, we'll put flap 1 in. Get another turn here to the left. Just keep it going. She is slowing down. There's 210 right there. Flaps 1. Speed checks for flaps 1. And another turn to the left here. We wait for the localizer capture. Once we get that localizer capture, we'll just go to nav mode. That's all we have to do. We're going to break out of this stuff eventually. Looking better here. 24 miles to the runway still. That's what it's telling us. And let's slow up to 1. And that's, yep, speed. Slow up to 180 here, if it'll let me. It's being real stupid right now. Oh man, it's being real laggy. What is your problem? Okay. That was strange. All right, waiting for that localizer to come in. A little bit more to the left. A better intercept angle. Yeah, it's not refreshing very quickly on this. We're waiting to see that localizer move. Once it does, we'll grab that nav on it. We're just about to get to here. A little bit less of an intercept angle. There we go, looking good. 180 knots. You know, there's the localizer right there, nav. It's got localizer capture. It's just being super lazy about it. It's all right. And it's gonna chase it back. But we are in the thick of it right now, so we kind of need our autopilot to do its thing. And then we arm the approach. So we grab the glide slope as well. We'll see if we actually grab glide path here. Yeah, it's not looking like it wants to grab that lope, does it? Let's go heading mode back to the left here. There we go. We'll grab the localizer again. It's being real lazy about it. There we go. Back to nav. We got localizer. Still a ways out for the glide path, but it'll come in due time. There's the turn on to the localizer, looking good there. It's managing everything here. We don't need our terrain on anymore. Go to the off position for you. Let's just see what we're doing. All right, we got good loc capture there. Now we should be able to activate the approach. Glide slope's in white right there, and we'll wait for it to turn. It's going to come down a little bar right there. So just waiting to intercept that. It should be coming down very shortly. Yeah, man, this is craziness. This is madness. We're 16 miles out right now. We don't need to drop the gear or anything down until we're about 7 miles out. Still waiting for that glide path to come down. It's the green one right here. You see it starting to move. So once it gets down to about a certain position here, we'll see the GS light up green and we'll know have glide slope capture. Since the weather's so bad right now. I'm using all the tools we can in the cockpit. I have noticed with this airplane, you do have to get a really shallow kind of intercept angle for it to grab that localizer. Otherwise, it doesn't want to. All right, starting to break out now. There you go. You can see a little bit of the ground. Very cool. Flight attendant seats for landing, please. We've briefed them. 12-mile final. Winds are gusting all over the place right now, man. Now, we can get the tailwind right now, but that should move around because we're using the, you know, slow up the speed here a little bit more. 10-mile final here. Let's start slowing to VAP. Remember, I was going to shoot this about 145. Let's go flaps 2. Speed checks flaps 2. Still in the soup right now. Sky Dolly recorded for us. That's what I use for my replays. And about 9-mile final right now. 8 miles. I'm gonna grab that final fix here. And drop that gear and slow her down. She doesn't want to slow down right now, I'll tell you that. Not with that tailwind. 27 knot tailwind gain. That's not good. We really got to monitor this coming in. It can get you in trouble real quick. Alrighty, gear down. Setting a flap right there. She's slowing down. We're breaking out here at about 2,500 feet. That's what we were expecting, actually. So that works out for us. Still using the
2,500.
Yep. Next setting to flap. Flaps 4. We're gonna be flap 5 landing. So let's go all the way to 5. Flaps 5 set. And we're right on the money here for now. Landing lights are on. Everything's good there. Let's do our landing checklist real quick. Avionics and radios tuned and set. Passenger signs are on. Altimeters are checked and set. Speed brake is set. Flaps 5. Landing gear down, 3 green. Auto brakes set medium. Autopilot, auto throttle will be checked next. We'll be approaching minimums before too long. Gotta love the bad weather. That makes it fun, you know? Okay. Waiting for these clouds to clear out. Still don't have the runway in sight. VREF is good. There's those winds moving around. That's a pretty bad tailwind, man. Even down here at 1,600 feet. We'll see if it changes. Remember, those winds are supposed to be out of the east. Gusting. Not directly at our tail. This is some bad weather, man. All right. Don't have the runway yet. Got the runway. My throttles. My controls.
1,000.
And see, that wind is really at our tail right now. It's bad. Bad news bears. Pull that power back. Let her float. On down. Reverses out. That stupid stutter every time, man. I have dev mode on too, and it still stutters like crazy. 60 knots, clear them.
Auto brake.
Auto brake. All right. Left turn right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to San Antonio. The local time is 11:03 a.m. and it's currently about 52 degrees Fahrenheit.
52 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, it is.
Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bin.
All right, let's clean up the airplane here. Bring those forward. Speed brake, we'll check and make sure it's forward, which it is. Clear the rest of this up. Once we clear this turn, and all this stuff at once here. Strobe off. Also get that inspection light off. There we go, left turn here. And we'll get some wipers on as well. Turn them on here. There we go. We had to cross the runway here, so we'll turn the lights back on in a second here. But right now, we're gonna get that APU fired up. That's an important one. So APU control on. Wait for the yellow to go away. Gonna cross this runway here, so landing lights are gonna come back on. And we can now start the APU. There we go. Oh, they got it closed. Just like in real life. Look at that. What a fun, interesting flight, man. Lately, it's just been crazy weather everywhere you go. The sim does a really bad job sometimes of giving you the accurate runways. A lot of that's because Media Blue is just kind of behind sometimes. All right, we've crossed the runway here. Do exactly what we talked about, what we briefed about. So not this terminal, the next terminal is what we want. About an hour and 22 minutes we have on the clock right now. Let's taxi into the gate. Right, gate B, we want Bravo 1. And no following me needed. And we will be, I guess, Swissport. Since they don't have United over here, I guess. Marshaller has been dispatched on site. Wonderful. Should be the last one down here on the left-hand side. We should see those vehicles here in shortly. Yep, we got them in sight right there. Very cool scenery here at San Antonio. I like it a lot. All right, we got the baggage carts and sites there. Let's go ahead and make sure that our taxi lights are turned off. And we can park this thing. Watching here on the left-hand side a little bit more. And now that we're coming back into here, we can go ahead and come down to engine 1. We can put that to stop. Shut down engine 1. Save on fuel anytime you get a chance. Yep, that's our gate right there. Let's taxi on in. Let's go ahead and pull our parking brake here. We'll turn our windshield wipers to the off position on both sides. There we go. And we will shut our engine down here on the right side on the APU. And we go available on the GPU. So the GPU is good there. Very good parking. They loved it. Sweet. Then we can turn on the dome light. And we can also turn on the flood storm light. And I'll show you what this looks like. One thing that's really cool about this airplane is that all the lighting is very dynamic, especially this. If I turn up the PFD, you'll see it puts out more light around it, especially at night it does. It's really, really, really cool. But if I go down, you can see the lighting on this panel here. Absolutely beautiful, I must say. Very impressive stuff. All right, overhead panel, red beacon light comes off, and the electric pump goes back to the off position. APU is good there. Everything upstairs looks wonderful. And that is a wrap. There you go. You can go ahead and get the jetway out here to us. And get these people off of our airplane. Operate the jetway. And here it comes right there. Go to the ground page here. You can see that the door is open there. We can come over here and we can unlock that cockpit door. And we can open it up and say hello to everybody and say thank you for flying with us today. I know it was a really, really rough one. We got 70% neutral on that, honestly. They were not happy with us, not even a little bit. All right, our flight phase is complete. Let's go ahead and open up packs and end the flight. And here you go. That is our landing rate. That's the overall opinion on everything. Diversion due to weather, unexpected arrival delay. Soft landing, they were happy about that. I'm totally telling my friends about this airline. Definitely recommend you at work, etc., whatever. So that was the biggest problem. I was going through things and I thought you could talk about the weather in there, but it was a diversion and they thought we were diverting to a different airport. That wasn't the case. I had to cancel it. So there you go. SkyWest 5237. Total flight time 1 hour 20 minutes, right around what we were talking about. Planned departure, actual departure was right there, right pretty close to it, and arrival and actual arrival, we had that delay due to the weather. 74 passengers, neutral opinion on it, that's fine. Landing rate 173, block time 1 hour and 49 minutes. There you go, save that one. Beautiful. Well, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Check out the FSS E175 if it's something that you're interested in. If you don't like the fact it doesn't have VNAV and some other things, just wait until it comes out fully, or you see custom things that you like for the most part. That'll do it. See you guys next time. Take care.